Good morning, and welcome back. Before you continue with your day, I want you to stop for just a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to share with you may influence how you experience the next 10, 15, or even 20 years of your life. Not because of some distant promise about the future, but because the small decisions you make this week, and even the choices you make today, can quietly shape your strength, independence, memory, and quality of life for years to come. I am Dr. John Meyers, and on this channel, we take the latest research in longevity, aging, and preventive medicine and turn it into practical steps that real people can actually use. These are not complicated theories or impossible routines. They are evidence-based changes drawn from scientific studies, many of which your own doctor may not have had enough time to explain during a short appointment. Modern healthcare often focuses on treating problems after they appear, but my goal is to help you understand the daily habits that influence whether those problems appear in the first place. After more than 20 years working in internal medicine and geriatrics, I have spent countless hours sitting across from people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s. I have listened to their stories, their fears, their regrets, and their hopes, and over again, I have noticed the same pattern. The biggest changes in aging are often not caused by one dramatic event. They are usually connected to small, ordinary habits repeated quietly over time. The way someone starts their morning, the choices they make at meals, the routines they follow before bed, the things they do every single day without questioning them. Many of these habits appear harmless. Some are even considered normal parts of aging, but research has shown that certain routines can slowly affect your balance, your confidence, your mental sharpness, your independence, and ultimately, the number of healthy years you experience. For decades, many people have accepted a certain idea about getting older. They believe aging follows a fixed path, almost like a road where everyone eventually reaches the same destination. The belief is that after a certain age, the body simply begins to decline, and there is very little anyone can do about it. But modern research has challenged that belief. Aging is not a one-way process where your future is already decided. Your body continues to respond to the environment you create for it. The choices you make influence your muscles, your brain, your cardiovascular system, your immune function, and your ability to remain independent. One of the most important studies examining this came from a combined analysis of two of the largest long-term aging studies ever conducted, the United States Health and Retirement Study and the English Longitudinal Study of Aging. Together, researchers followed more than 18,000 adults over the age of 60 for almost 12 years. What they discovered was remarkable. Participants who consistently changed several well-established unhealthy daily behaviors experienced a 58% lower likelihood of losing the ability to perform basic daily activities. They also had a 43% lower chance of developing significant cognitive decline during the study period. But there was one detail in that research that deserves much more attention. The majority of these people did not begin making changes when they were young. Many started after the age of 70. That means the opportunity to improve your health does not disappear simply because another birthday has passed. The body does not suddenly stop adapting. It continues responding to the signals you send it. The biology of aging is not a locked door. It is more like a series of switches, and many of those switches remain available for you to influence. Now, I want to speak directly to the people watching this channel because I know the kind of person who usually joins us here. You are someone who still wants to learn. You still ask questions, you still care about your health. You are not someone who has decided that getting older means giving up. Maybe you have noticed small changes recently. Maybe getting out of bed takes a little longer than it did 5 years ago. Maybe you find yourself avoiding certain activities you once enjoyed. Maybe your social circle has become smaller. Maybe you have started wondering whether these changes are simply unavoidable. They are not. Aging brings changes, yes. But many of the things people assume are permanent are actually signals that your body needs different support. Your knees may feel different. Your balance may not feel as automatic. Your memory may require more effort. But these are not signs that the story is over. They are signs that it is time to pay closer attention. Today, we are going to discuss 7 everyday behaviors that many adults over 60 continue doing without realizing the potential impact they can have. These are not rare mistakes, they are common routines that millions of people repeat because they seem normal. We are counting down from number 7 to number 1, and I want you to stay until the end, because the final habit is one that many people would never expect. In fact, it is something that a large percentage of adults over 60 do almost every evening. It feels harmless. It may even feel like a healthy choice. Many people believe it helps them relax and sleep better. But research suggests it may be affecting your sleep quality, your brain function the next day, your balance, and your long-term health in ways most people never consider. Before we begin, I would love to hear from you. Tell me your age in the comments below, and share one health habit you are most proud of maintaining throughout your life. Every comment creates an opportunity for people in this community to learn from each other, and many viewers find encouragement in hearing how others are taking care of themselves. Now, let's begin. Coming in at number 7 is a habit that surprises almost everyone: wearing bifocals or progressive lenses while walking outdoors. At first, this may sound strange. After all, many people invest in high-quality multifocal glasses because they help them see clearly at different distances. Your reading vision improves. Your computer vision improves. Your ability to focus on nearby objects improves. So naturally, you wear them all day. You wear them while walking the dog. You wear them while going down the front steps. You wear them while crossing a parking lot, stepping over a curb, or walking across uneven pavement. But this is exactly where a hidden problem can appear. Research from experts who have studied falls in older adults for decades has shown that multifocal lenses can increase the risk of outdoor falls because they change the way your brain interprets the environment around you. A research team at the University of New South Wales, led by Dr. Stephen Lord, studied fall patterns among older adults and discovered an important connection. Older adults who wore multifocal glasses during outdoor activities experienced significantly higher fall rates compared with those who used single-vision distance glasses. One major study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that people wearing multifocal lenses while outside were approximately 2.3 times more likely to experience falls compared with similar adults using distance-only lenses. A later randomized controlled trial published in the British Medical Journal confirmed that providing active older adults with a separate pair of distance glasses specifically for outdoor use reduced outdoor falls. The reason comes down to how these lenses work. The lower portion of progressive and bifocal glasses is designed for close-up vision. It helps you read a book, look at your phone, or work on a computer. But when you are walking outside, that same area of the lens can create a problem. When you look downward at a curb, a step, or an uneven section of pavement, you may unintentionally be looking through the reading portion of the lens rather than the distance portion. The result? Your depth perception becomes less accurate. The ground may appear closer or flatter than it really is. Small changes in elevation become harder for your brain to judge. Your foot lands slightly differently than expected, and your body has to react quickly to correct the mistake. For a younger person, this adjustment may happen automatically, but as we age, reaction speed, balance, and muscle response naturally become more important. Many serious falls do not happen on dangerous surfaces. They happen during ordinary moments, stepping off a curb, walking across a familiar sidewalk, or going down a single step outside the home. The solution is simple. Use your multifocal glasses for the activities they were designed for: reading, computer work, cooking, and close-up tasks. But when you go outside and walk on uneven surfaces, consider using a dedicated pair of single-vision distance glasses. If you already have an older pair of distance glasses sitting in a drawer, they may be exactly what you need. If not, speak with your optometrist about creating a separate pair. This small adjustment can take only a few days to become a habit, but the potential benefit is significant. Sometimes improving longevity is not about adding something complicated to your life. Sometimes it is about removing a small risk that has been hiding in plain sight. And that brings us to number 6. A daily habit that many retired adults enjoy, especially in the afternoon, but the length and timing of it may matter far more than most people realize. Number 6 is a habit that many people consider a sign of a healthy lifestyle: taking long daytime naps. Now, before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. Resting during the day is not automatically a bad thing. In fact, many older adults benefit from a short period of relaxation in the afternoon. A brief nap can improve alertness, reduce fatigue, and help you feel refreshed. The issue is not whether you nap. The issue is how long you nap, when you nap, and what effect that nap has on the rest of your day and your nighttime sleep. Almost every retired adult I have worked with has had some version of an afternoon rest routine. Some people consider it the best part of their day. They finish lunch, sit in their favorite chair, close their eyes for a while, and enjoy a peaceful break. There is nothing wrong with appreciating that moment. But research has shown that longer naps, especially those lasting an hour or more, may be connected with increased risks of cognitive decline, reduced nighttime sleep quality, and greater instability after waking. Several large observational studies, including research discussed in sleep medicine literature and publications from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, have found that older adults who regularly take longer daytime naps or multiple naps throughout the day tend to have higher rates of cognitive impairment compared with people who either do not nap or keep their naps short. The reason is not simply because they are sleeping during the day. The explanation is much more complicated. The first issue is something called sleep inertia. Sleep inertia is the period after waking when your brain and body have not fully returned to normal alertness. You may feel confused, slow, or unsteady. Your reaction time can be reduced. Your blood pressure may temporarily drop. Your ability to maintain balance may be affected. For younger adults, this effect is usually mild and disappears quickly. But for older adults, especially those already dealing with changes in balance, muscle strength, or blood pressure regulation, that short period after waking can become a vulnerable moment. This explains why some falls happen shortly after someone gets up from a long nap. The problem is not necessarily the nap itself. The problem is that the body is transitioning from deep sleep back into movement. A second issue is what happens later that night. Long naps, especially late afternoon naps, reduce something scientists call sleep pressure. Throughout the day, your body naturally builds a biological need for sleep. This pressure helps you fall into deeper, more restorative sleep at night. But when you sleep for a long time during the day, you reduce that natural drive. The result is that nighttime sleep can become lighter and more fragmented. You may still spend 7 or 8 hours in bed, but the quality of that sleep may not be the same. The deepest stages of sleep are especially important because they support memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and the brain's natural cleaning processes that occur during rest. When those deep sleep cycles are interrupted, the brain may not receive the same restorative benefit. In other words, a long afternoon nap may feel like it gives you more energy today, but it can quietly take away some of the recovery your brain needs tonight. I remember a patient I worked with. I will call him Arthur. Arthur was 83 years old and had spent his entire career as a contractor. Even in retirement, he remained mentally sharp, physically active, and independent. He enjoyed working around his home and taking care of his garden. But he came to see me after experiencing 2 falls within 3 months. What made the situation interesting was that both falls happened under very similar circumstances. They happened within about 10 minutes of him standing up from his recliner after his afternoon nap. When we discussed his routine, Arthur proudly explained his daily rest schedule. Every weekday afternoon at 1 o'clock, he would sit down and sleep for around 90 minutes. He described it as his favorite part of the day. At first, he did not see it as a possible problem. Why would he? For decades, society has viewed naps as something positive, a sign of relaxation, a sign that someone is taking care of themselves. But we looked at the timing and duration carefully. We decided to make a few small changes. Instead of sleeping for an hour and a half, Arthur reduced his nap to about 25 minutes. He set a gentle alarm so he would not drift into deeper sleep. He moved his chair closer to a bright window where he could receive natural daylight instead of resting in a darker room with the television playing. The results were impressive. Over the next 6 months, Arthur did not experience another fall. More importantly, he did not feel more tired. He actually felt better. He described feeling clearer in the afternoon, more stable when standing up, and more present during conversations with his family. The lesson is not that naps are harmful. The lesson is that the wrong type of nap can work against your health goals. If you enjoy taking a daytime nap, try keeping it between 20 and 30 minutes. Ideally, take it before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Try resting in a chair rather than completely lying down, because this can make the transition back to being awake smoother. Keep some natural light in the room if possible. Darkness signals your brain that it is time for a longer sleep period, while daylight helps maintain a healthy circadian rhythm. And when you wake up, do not rush immediately to stand. Sit for a moment, move your feet, give your body time to adjust. A short nap can be refreshing. A long nap can sometimes become a hidden obstacle. The difference is not the act of resting. The difference is how your body responds afterward. Now, moving to number 5, we are going to discuss something that millions of older adults have taken for years because they were told it would protect their heart. For many people, it became as routine as drinking their morning coffee. A small pill, a simple habit. But new evidence has completely changed the way doctors think about it. Number 5 is taking a low-dose aspirin every morning without a current medical reason to do so. For many decades, adults were encouraged to take a daily baby aspirin as a way to reduce the chance of heart attacks and strokes. In the 1980s and 1990s, this advice became extremely common, and many people adopted the habit believing they were doing something proactive for their health. Some people were prescribed aspirin by a physician. Others started taking it because they heard it helped the heart. And many continued taking it years later without ever reviewing whether the benefits still outweighed the risks. This is where the modern research becomes extremely important. The Aspirin trial, one of the largest studies ever examining aspirin use in healthy older adults, changed the conversation completely. Published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2018 and led by Dr. John McNeil, the study followed 19,114 healthy adults aged 65 and older from Australia and the United States. Participants were randomly assigned to receive either 100 milligrams of aspirin daily or a placebo. Researchers wanted to answer a simple but important question. Could aspirin help healthy older adults live longer without disability? The answer was surprising. The aspirin group did not experience a reduction in cardiovascular events. It did not improve disability-free survival. Instead, researchers found a significantly higher risk of major bleeding among those taking aspirin. The study showed that healthy older adults taking daily aspirin experienced a 38% higher rate of major bleeding compared with those who did not take aspirin. The findings forced many doctors and medical organizations to reconsider previous recommendations. In 2022, the United States Preventive Services Task Force updated its guidance, recommending that adults aged 60 and older should not begin taking low-dose aspirin for the primary prevention of cardiovascular disease without an individualized discussion with their healthcare provider. The reason is simple. As people age, the risk of bleeding increases. A medication that may have offered benefits at one stage of life may provide fewer benefits and greater risks later. But there is an important distinction. If your cardiologist prescribed aspirin because you have had a heart attack, a stent procedure, or a confirmed ischemic stroke, do not stop taking it without medical guidance. That situation is completely different. The concern is not medically supervised aspirin therapy. The concern is continuing a medication automatically simply because it became part of your routine years ago. Aspirin is not a harmless supplement. It is a medication. And like all medications, it should be reviewed regularly as your body changes. I once worked with a patient I will call Frances. Frances was 71 years old. She walked every day, exercised regularly, and considered herself extremely health conscious. She had been taking a baby aspirin every morning for nearly 2 decades. But when we reviewed her medical history, we discovered something important. She had never actually been told she needed it. She started taking it after her husband experienced a heart attack because she assumed it would protect her as well. Together with her physician, she reassessed the decision and stopped taking it. A year later, she remained healthy. No heart problems, no regrets. The lesson is simple. Your health habits should grow with you. Something that made sense 20 years ago may not be the right choice today. And sometimes the healthiest decision is not adding another pill. Sometimes it is asking whether the pill you already take still belongs in your life. And next, we are going to look at another everyday habit that seems harmless because it happens inside the place where you feel safest, your own home. But for many older adults, that familiar environment is where some of the most serious accidents happen. Number 4 is a habit that many people never think twice about because it happens in the place where they feel the most comfortable, walking around the house barefoot or wearing loose slippers. Your home is supposed to be your safe place. It is where you know every corner, every step, every piece of furniture. You have walked across the same floors for years. You know where everything is. So it is natural to believe that the risk of falling is somewhere outside, an icy sidewalk, an uneven road, a crowded store, or an unfamiliar building. But research tells us something very different. For many older adults, the most serious falls happen inside their own homes. The familiar environment can create a false sense of security. Because you have done the same movements thousands of times, you stop paying attention to the small risks that exist around you. And one of the most common factors present during indoor falls is footwear, or the lack of it. Walking barefoot, wearing only socks, or using soft slippers that do not properly support the foot may seem harmless. In reality, these choices can reduce your stability and make it harder for your body to recover from a small mistake. Studies examining fall patterns among older adults have consistently shown that people are more likely to fall when they are barefoot, wearing socks without shoes, or using unstable footwear compared with wearing properly fitted shoes that provide support and traction. The reason becomes clear when you look at how balance works. Every time you take a step, your brain receives information from your feet. Your feet tell your nervous system how much pressure is being applied, whether the surface is stable, and where your body is positioned in space. Bare feet can become a problem because certain surfaces inside the home, such as polished floors, tile, or hardwood, may provide less friction than expected. A small movement that should have been corrected automatically can turn into a slide. Your foot moves before your body is prepared. Your balance system has to react instantly. And as we age, the speed of that reaction naturally becomes slower. Socks create an even bigger challenge because they provide almost no grip. A person may feel completely steady while standing still, but the moment they turn, reach for something, or step onto a smooth surface, their foot can move unexpectedly. Loose slippers create another issue. Many people love slippers because they feel comfortable. They are easy to put on. They remind us of relaxation and home. But comfort does not always equal safety. Slippers that are open at the heel or too loose can change the way your foot moves. They can catch on rugs, slide across floors, and make it harder to lift your feet properly when walking. The result is a reduced margin of safety. And when it comes to preventing falls, small margins matter. A healthy younger person may recover quickly from a small stumble. An older adult may experience a serious injury from the same event. A simple fall can lead to fractures, hospital stays, loss of confidence, and sometimes a permanent reduction in independence. So what is the better approach? It does not require expensive equipment. It does not require changing your entire home. Start with something simple. Choose a pair of lightweight, comfortable, enclosed indoor shoes with a low heel and a textured rubber sole. Think of them as part of your health routine. Just like you use reading glasses to support your vision or hearing aids to support communication, supportive footwear can help protect your mobility. The best indoor shoes do not need to be fashionable. They need to be stable. They should fit properly. They should stay securely on your feet, and they should give you confidence when moving around your home. Another important step is looking at your environment. Take a careful walk through your home and pay attention to anything that moves when you step on it. Loose rugs are one of the most common hidden hazards. Many people keep decorative rugs because they make a room look warmer or more attractive. But if a rug slides, folds, or shifts under pressure, it creates a serious risk. A beautiful hallway rug is not worth the possibility of a broken hip. Many patients tell me they worry their home will look less inviting without certain rugs. But almost everyone who removes a dangerous rug later says the same thing. I should have done this years ago. The space often feels cleaner, brighter, and easier to move through. I remember working with a patient I will call Walter. Walter was 88 years old and had experienced several small falls inside his home. Nothing had caused a major injury yet, but each incident reduced his confidence. He started walking more carefully. He avoided carrying things from one room to another. He became nervous about being alone. When we looked at his daily habits, one simple change stood out. He was spending almost every day walking around his house in loose slippers. We replaced them with supportive indoor shoes and made a few small adjustments around his home. The following year, he had no indoor falls. But what mattered most was not just the number of falls, it was the way he felt. He told me something that stayed with me. He said he used to think his slippers represented comfort. Now, he thought of his indoor shoes as a way of protecting his independence. That change in perspective was powerful. Because preventing falls is not only about avoiding injury, it is about protecting freedom. Your ability to move confidently through your own home is part of your quality of life. And sometimes, the smallest adjustments create the biggest improvements. Now, moving to number 3, we are going to discuss something that many people underestimate because they believe their personal experience tells them the truth. They say, "I never get sick. I have always been healthy. I do not need another shot." But when it comes to aging, your immune system does not always work the way it did when you were younger. And ignoring this one area can turn a preventable illness into a serious medical event. Number 3 is skipping important vaccines, including flu, pneumonia, shingles, and other recommended immunizations. This topic can sometimes create strong opinions because many adults over 60 have gone years without getting seriously ill. They look back at their lives and think, "I have always been fine. Why should I change anything now?" But the reason doctors emphasize these vaccines is not because older adults are weak. It is because the immune system changes with age. Scientists call this process immunosenescence. It refers to the gradual decline in the immune system's ability to recognize and respond effectively to threats. Your immune system does not suddenly stop working, but it becomes less efficient. A virus or bacteria that your body may have handled easily at age 30 can become much more challenging decades later. This is why infections that seem mild at first can become serious for older adults. Influenza is a perfect example. For a younger, healthy adult, the flu may mean several uncomfortable days in bed. For an older adult, it can progress into pneumonia, hospitalization, intensive care, and sometimes death. According to public health data, adults aged 65 and older represent the majority of flu-related hospitalizations and the overwhelming majority of influenza deaths, despite making up a smaller percentage of the total population. That is why vaccine recommendations change with age. For adults over 65, health authorities often recommend enhanced influenza vaccines because older immune systems may need stronger stimulation to create an effective response. The goal is not simply avoiding a few uncomfortable symptoms. The goal is reducing the chance that a routine infection becomes a life-changing event. The same principle applies to pneumococcal disease. Pneumonia is one of the most dangerous complications of respiratory infections in older adults. Certain bacteria can enter the bloodstream and cause severe illness. Vaccination helps reduce the risk of invasive pneumococcal disease and some of the complications associated with these infections. Then there is shingles. Many people underestimate shingles because they remember chickenpox as something from childhood. But shingles is not simply a minor skin rash. It is a painful reactivation of the same virus that remains in the body after chickenpox. And the risk increases significantly after age 60. One of the biggest concerns is post-herpetic neuralgia, a condition where nerve pain continues long after the visible rash disappears. For some people, this pain lasts months. For others, it can continue for years. The newer recombinant shingles vaccine has shown strong protection against shingles and its complications in older adults. The message here is not about fear. It is about preparation. A vaccine does not guarantee that you will never encounter an infection. What it does is train your immune system to recognize the threat faster and respond more effectively. That difference can determine whether an illness stays manageable or becomes a medical emergency. I remember a patient I will call Ruth. Ruth was 77 years old and had avoided flu vaccines for almost a decade. Her reasoning was simple. She said, "I never get sick." And for years, she was right. Until one season when she was exposed to influenza through her grandchild's school event. What started as a mild illness quickly developed into serious pneumonia. She recovered, thankfully. But many older adults in similar situations do not recover as easily. The lesson is not that every illness can be prevented. The lesson is that your body deserves every advantage available. Keeping your recommended vaccinations current is one of the simplest conversations you can have with your healthcare provider. Ask about your yearly flu vaccine. Ask about pneumonia protection. Ask about shingles protection. Ask about any updated recommendations for your age group. These conversations take minutes, but they can influence years of your life. And next, we are going to discuss number 2, a factor that many people do not consider a health issue at all. It does not come in a bottle. It does not show up on a blood test. But decades of research suggest it can influence your lifespan, your brain health, and your overall well-being in a way that rivals some of the biggest health risks we know. Number 2 is loneliness and social withdrawal. Number 2 is something many people underestimate because it does not look like a medical problem at first. There is no obvious symptom on a scan. There is no prescription written for it. There is no simple measurement like blood pressure or cholesterol. It is loneliness. And for many older adults, loneliness does not arrive suddenly. It slowly becomes part of everyday life. After retirement, routines change. The workplace disappears. Children become busy with their own families. Friends move away. Some people lose a spouse or longtime companions. Activities that once filled the calendar gradually become less frequent. At first, the change may feel peaceful. The quiet house feels comfortable. The empty schedule feels like freedom. But over time, that quiet can become isolation. And research has shown that chronic loneliness is not simply an emotional experience. It can have measurable effects on the body. One of the most important studies in this area came from Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad at Brigham Young University. In a large meta-analysis published in Perspectives on Psychological Science, researchers examined data from more than 300,000 participants across more than 140 studies. The findings were significant. People who experienced loneliness had a higher risk of premature death. Social isolation was also associated with increased mortality risk, and living alone was linked with additional health risks. The effect was not something researchers could simply explain away as sadness. The connection appeared to be biological. Chronic loneliness can influence stress hormones such as cortisol. It can increase inflammation in the body. It can affect immune function. It can interfere with sleep quality. Over time, these changes may contribute to faster cognitive decline and reduced overall health. The brain is designed for connection. Human beings are social creatures. Conversation, friendship, shared experiences, and meaningful relationships are not luxuries. They are part of how the brain remains active and healthy. When people become socially disconnected, several things can happen. They may become less physically active. They may eat less consistently. They may be less likely to attend medical appointments. They may notice symptoms later because fewer people are around to recognize changes. A friend or family member often notices something before a doctor does. A different walking pattern, a change in mood, a forgotten appointment, a person becoming quieter than usual. Connection creates another layer of protection. But I want to be very clear about something important. This is not about blaming anyone. Many older adults live alone because of circumstances beyond their control. Some have lost a spouse. Some have family members who live far away. Some simply have always been independent and enjoy their own space. Living alone is not the same thing as being lonely. The question is not whether you live by yourself. The question is whether you have meaningful human connection in your life. Do you have someone you can call? Someone you can share a conversation with? Someone who knows how you are really doing? Those connections matter. I once worked with a patient I will call Paul. Paul was 74 years old and had lost his wife several years earlier. His children loved him, but they lived in different states and had busy lives. When I asked him about his typical week, he smiled and said, "My days are fine. They are just quiet." At first, that answer sounded positive. But when we looked closer, we discovered something important. During an average week, Paul had meaningful conversations with only one person. One person. His life had slowly become smaller without him realizing it. So instead of focusing only on medications or medical tests, we focused on rebuilding his calendar. We created small, realistic goals. He started volunteering 2 mornings a week at a local library. He joined a weekly breakfast group. He scheduled a regular phone call with his grandson every Tuesday. None of these changes required a prescription. None of them required expensive treatment. But within 6 months, his life looked completely different. His sleep improved. His mood improved. His blood pressure improved. And his daughter told me something powerful. "I got my dad back." That is the power of connection. It does not always arrive through one dramatic moment. It happens through small, repeated interactions. A conversation with a neighbor, a walk with a friend, a volunteer opportunity, a faith community, a class, a hobby group, a weekly phone call. The specific activity matters less than the consistency. Your calendar is a reflection of your priorities. If your health deserves appointments, your relationships deserve appointments too. Protect one regular human connection the same way you would protect an important medication. Because connection is not just good for your emotions. It is part of protecting your brain, your body, and your future. Now we arrive at number 1. The habit at the top of this list is one that many people never expect. In fact, many people believe they are doing something healthy when they do it. It is something millions of adults over 60 practice every evening. It feels relaxing. It feels harmless. And for some people, it has been part of their nightly routine for decades. But research has revealed a different side. Number 1 is drinking alcohol close to bedtime in an attempt to sleep better. Many people use alcohol as a way to relax at night. A glass of wine after dinner. A drink before bed. Something to help the mind slow down after a long day. And there is a reason this habit becomes so common. Alcohol can make you feel sleepy. It can reduce the time it takes to fall asleep. So from the outside, it appears to work. But falling asleep faster is not the same thing as getting restorative sleep. The quality of your sleep matters. And alcohol can interfere with the very processes that allow your brain and body to recover overnight. Research in sleep science has consistently shown that alcohol changes normal sleep architecture. During the first part of the night, alcohol may help you fall asleep more quickly. But later in the night, the effects begin to reverse. Alcohol reduces normal REM sleep patterns and can cause disrupted sleep cycles. REM sleep plays an important role in memory, learning, emotional processing, and brain function. Alcohol can also interfere with deep, slow-wave sleep, the stage associated with physical restoration and important brain maintenance processes. So although someone may spend 8 hours in bed, the sleep they receive may not provide the same benefit. This becomes especially important as we age. Older adults are already more vulnerable to changes in sleep quality, and poor sleep can affect balance, reaction time, concentration, and memory. There is another concern as well. Alcohol can worsen breathing problems during sleep, especially in people with undiagnosed or mild sleep apnea. A person may not realize their nighttime breathing is being affected, but the combination of alcohol and disrupted sleep can create a more significant problem. I remember a patient I will call Eleanor. Eleanor was 72 years old and had been a school teacher for more than 30 years. She was active, intelligent, and independent. Her evening routine seemed completely normal. She enjoyed a glass of red wine with dinner. Several nights a week, she also had another glass later in the evening because she felt it helped her relax. But over time, she noticed changes. She was falling more often. She was forgetting names that had always been easy for her to remember. Her blood pressure was slowly increasing. When we discussed her routine, we decided to make a few changes. She did not completely change her personality. She did not feel like she was giving up enjoyment. She simply replaced the evening alcohol routine with healthier relaxation habits, a short breathing exercise, a calming tea, a consistent bedtime routine. Within a short period, she noticed improvements. Her sleep became deeper, her mornings felt clearer, and she felt more stable throughout the day. Her words stayed with me. She said, "I never thought I had a problem because I thought the wine was helping me." And that is an important point. The issue is not always the substance itself. The issue is understanding what role it plays in your life. If you choose to drink alcohol, timing matters. Avoid using it as a sleep medication. Consider having it earlier in the day rather than close to bedtime. Keep portions moderate. Drink with food. Stay hydrated. And create an evening routine that supports your natural sleep system. A cooler bedroom, a dark environment, a consistent wake-up time, relaxation techniques. These simple habits often do more for sleep quality than many people realize. Because sleep is not just a period when the body shuts down. Sleep is when the brain organizes memories, restores energy, regulates hormones, and prepares you for the next day. Protecting your sleep means protecting your future self. And now, after looking at these 7 habits, I want you to understand the bigger message. This is not about fear. It is not about believing aging is a disease. Aging is a natural part of life. But decline is not always inevitable. Your daily choices matter. The small things repeated over years become the foundation of your health. Your balance, your independence, your mental sharpness, your ability to continue doing the things you love. I have seen people in their 80s make changes that completely transformed the way they experienced life. I have seen individuals who believed their best years were behind them regain strength, confidence, and independence. The turning point was rarely one miracle treatment. It was information. It was understanding what their body needed and then consistently providing it. That is the opportunity you have today. You do not need to change everything overnight. Start with one thing. Improve one habit. Make one adjustment. Your body is constantly responding to the signals you give it. Change the signals, and you can change what is possible. Your body is not working against you. It is adapting to the environment you create. And even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond, there is still enormous potential for improvement. Thank you for spending this time with me. All scientific references and studies discussed in this video are available in the description so you can explore the research yourself. If this information helped you, share it with someone you care about. Sometimes one simple piece of knowledge can change the direction of someone's health journey. And if you are not already subscribed, consider joining this community. Every week, we share research-based information designed for adults who refuse to believe that aging means giving up. Because growing older does not mean becoming less alive. The goal is not simply to add more years. The goal is to add more life to those years.